Alright, so what is up guys? I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Today I want to take a look at my personal top 10 pick for the rookies heading into next season. Some will be players from this draft class coming up this Friday. Really excited about that draft. It's one of my favorite day of the year. So without further ado, let's look into my top 10 for next year. Early Calder favorite, if you want to put it that way. At number 10, we have Quentin Hughes. I think he's going to have, depending on the team that actually draft him, either an impact right away or next year. But if he gets to play next year, he's going to be a lot better than people expect. Because we've seen him play with the World Championship team and with Team USA. He was actually great. So I think he's quite closer to NHL ready than people kind of expect him to be. So depending on where he actually end up, he could very well play in the NHL next year and have some sort of maybe a 30-point season. At number 9, we have Filip Zadina. Again, a player that could step in right away and could have like a 45-point season, give or take. Depends on which team actually draft him and where they put him. Slide him in top 6 role right away, top 9 role, or decide to take their time and sending him the year into MGHL. I see both things happening, so that's why those guys are a bit lower on the list, because I think the team that will draft those guys will depend heavily on if they should be in that top 10 or not. At number 8, we have Phillip Churchill. Now, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing that right, but I saw the last few games he played with the Rangers last year, and he was great. So I'm not surprised if this guy will actually be into like a third center, second center role, and having some power play exposure as well. So again, a 40-point season is definitely in the mix for Phillip Chytil here, and that's why he's number 8 on this list, because I think this player will play all season in the NHL. So he's a safe bet at number 8, and can't wait to see what he's actually going to do with the Rangers next year. Now at number 7, we have Robert Thomas, another guy who I think is going to step in right away next year and have a great season, especially considering the Blues lost Statsny to the Winnipeg Jets. I think he could slide into a top 9 role right away, and again, a 40-point season is definitely in the mix for him. He was great in the OHL last year. He's definitely a great prospect to keep a quick look at, so that's why he's number 7 on my list, and again, could be higher depending on where actually the Blues will decide to put him. Now at number 6, I really like this guy, and he could be higher on this list, but it's Miro Heiskanen. He had an amazing year in Europe this year, definitely a huge step up from his draft year, so I think he's going to step in right away next year and play a second pair type of a thing and a second power play role. So again, 35 point is in the range, in the mix for him for sure. Now, it depends if they actually decide to go with maybe on a second power play. So his exposure in that second power play might take a bit of time, but I think it's definitely going to solidify his spot there, and I can't wait to see what he's actually going to do in the NHL. Now, of course, those players coming from Europe playing in the NHL, sometimes it's a bit longer for them to fully adjust, but based on the season he had last year, which was quite remarkable, I'm not surprised if he played 82 games with the Dallas Stars and end up being a force on that blue line. He's a 3rd overall pick after all. Number 5, wearing the actually jersey of the team that will draft this guy, Andrei Svechnikov, is definitely going to play right away, and when you get exposure to either Teuvo Teravainen, which is an amazing playmaker, or even a guy like Sebastian Aho, even Elias Lindholm can definitely pass a puck. I see Svechnikov having maybe a 25 goal a year with the Carolina Hurricanes, 45, 50 point, definitely in the mix for sure. So that's why he's number 5 on this list. And I would not surprise if he wins the Calder. He's definitely a top 5 favorite. That's why he's right now at number 5. At number 4, I really like this player, and considering the team he plays on, would not be surprised if you get top 6 role exposure right away with maybe a first power play unit role as well, Kasey Mills. Especially if they trade Ryan O'Reilly, then of course his value will jump up immediately. This guy is great. 5 point in 6 games with Buffalo last year was a beast, again in the World Juniors. So again, it's really interesting to see how he can fully play like 82 games. Sometimes those NCAA prospects will have a down period during the year, so it's hard to predict exactly the point total for Kasey Mills. But I think somewhere in the range of 40 to 55, depending on where exactly they end up using him, is very well in the mix. At number 3, we have the number 1 pick of this upcoming draft, and Rasmus Dahlin could be number 1 on this list, but I don't think right away next year he's going to have that franchise demon impact. I see him getting 35 point give or take for sure, sliding onto a second power play unit right away, maybe even grabbing that spot from Miro Heiskanen. It depends to his adjustment to the NHL, to the North American style of hockey. This guy is not even elite, he's franchise. I wouldn't be surprised if in 3 or 4 years he's posting 55 to 60 point season. But for his first year, just like Carson had, by the way, he didn't post more than 30 points. So that's why when you look at a guy like Dahlin, It would be easy to put in number 1 on this list, but I put number 3 because I think he's not necessarily going to win the Calder right away, because sometimes defensemen are just a bit longer to fully get into their elite or elite prime time. So that's why Rasmus Dahlin is number 3 on this list. But I think it will be a Calder finalist. I just don't think it will win at all, considering those 2 guys that are coming up. At number 2, we have the best NCAA scorer of last year, and that is Ryan Donato. We've seen him play 12 games with Boston in the regular season and 3 in the playoff. I've liked all of those 15 games, and it's a bit of a question mark of why he didn't play all playoff long with the Boston Bruins. That's a bit tricky for me to evaluate. I'm not necessarily, especially considering the fact that Boston could have definitely used his help. He was there at the end, but it was a bit too late at this time. He had 9 points in 12 games when he was in the regular season with Boston. And seeing how Nash and Backes might not be the same player than they were previously, I think Donato could actually steal that power play spot and get exposure to Pastrnak, Marchand, and Bergeron with Krug on that first unit. So I think he's very much in play for a first power play role in the second or third line at 5-on-5. And I'm not going to be surprised at all if he ends up posting around 50 to 55 points, considering he had 9 in 12 games, which was quite remarkable. And this guy can definitely put a puck in the net. So that's why he's number 2 on the list. Keep an eye on Ryan Donato. It could be an amazing player for the Bruins next year. Number 1, we have, that was not even hard for me, a consensus number 1 with. When I tried to do this list, I didn't see anybody else going number 1. That is correct, and that is Jack Evans from the Montreal Canadiens. I'm just kidding, guys. Elias Pettersson from the Vancouver Canucks is definitely consistent number 1. This guy posted some amazing number in the SHL last year, break all sort of records, win all sort of championship. I'm not going to be surprised if he's starting with a role with maybe Brock Besser. And if he gets some type of exposure with this guy, then 60 points is definitely in the mix for his rookie season. If again, player coming in from Europe, sometimes a bit more tricky to evaluate. So maybe Donato will actually have the edge at the start, but as soon as Pettersson will settle in and be the number 1 center that Canucks can actually hope he's going to be, because he posts a better number than Niklas Backstrom, Philip Forsberg, and company. So it's really, really interesting to see how well he can adjust right away. Not surprised. Of course, maybe Orvat will keep his role with Brock Besser, but the Canucks have some amazing prospects coming in as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if Pettersson gets a first power play role right away and posts 50 to 60 points for sure. So that's why he's my early Calder favorite as of right now. That, of course, can very well change in the upcoming weeks and months. But I think as of right now, if I look into the next season, Pettersson is my guy for the Calder Trophy. And I could be very wrong, but I guess this is my early top 10 Calder favorites, if you want to put it that way, my top 10 rookies to keep an eye on next year. Feel free to post your top 10 of rookies down below. Do you agree with this list? Do you disagree? Like, by all means, just get the conversation going in the comments, and it's always nice to have different point of view and different opinions. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys. You guys take care. Hopefully you're all set up for Friday with, watching the draft with some friends, hanging out, and hopefully you see the Montreal Canadiens draft a bust again. You never know. I mean, you guys take care. You have an amazing day, and I'll see you guys this week for our next video. Take care.